This is an improvised conversation, so we don't have any script. So we can.
Isn't that nice? Not to have a script.
Yeah.
What Moreno told us to do. Throw away the script. Yeah.
Absolutely. But you talked about Holwell, but how this Holwell International Centre for Psychodrama came? Why Holwell? Where's that? And when was it?
Okay, it was established in 1974.
The year Moreno has died?
Yes. Yes. I didn't have enough money at that time to go to say goodbye. I remember wanting to, but I couldn't afford the airfare. It was an old farm, 12th-century farm. The original name was Holy Well, because there were 7 wells that were considered holy.
Ah.
And so the name was changed in the 1200s to Holwell. Holwell.
Is it far from here?
It's about 5 hours to drive, 4 or 5 hours to drive. It's in North Devon. It's a southwest part of England.
Mm-hmm.
And we had that training center and treatment center from 1971 until 1998. And then we had another one called Holwell, which was non-residential. But the first one, we could sleep 25 people in our farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
We had a theater which was in the old granary. And there was an owl hole for the owl to, in those days, eat the mice who ate the grain. And that was before our theater was created. Yeah.
And how the idea of having this center came?
Well, when I first came to Britain, Zerka knew Malcolm Pines, who I still know to this day. And Malcolm was a psychiatrist at the Maudsley Hospital, and he had done some training with Dean and Doreen Alethry, who were trained by the Morenos. And so she wrote to him to say, one of our students, former students, is coming to London, can you help her find some work? So he invited me to the Maudsley, and one of the young doctors, John Cobb, represented the training of the doctors, and we hatched a plan to have the first multidisciplinary training group. So there were OTs, there were social workers, psychologists, doctors, and so on. And we used to meet weekly for psychodrama. They were a private group, never before explored their lives with each other. And then, after about 2 years of once a week meeting, we invited them to Holwell to have a weekend in the country and do some psychodrama. And I remember some of the doctors and social workers and so on, some of the groups sat up in the night listening to a cow, or listening to the wind, or listening to, leaves. And it was like coming out of London into a beautiful natural experience that was rare for them. And we thought, well, have we discovered something that's needed in the soul, in a way, to train in an environment where you're together with your natural forces, and the natural forces are there for you. I remember being at Beacon, and I think this was a formative experience. The last session I did when I graduated from Beacon, I sat in the grass. In front of the theater there was long grass, which was rarely cut, and the wind was blowing the grass. And I remember thinking, that's me. I'm being taken by the wind someplace else. And when I did my last session, I saw a beacon tree. I saw a tree which I enacted with branches, and there were acorns on this beacon tree that were dropping into the soil, which was many of us students making institutes, and one of that, the acorns, was my acorn that made another oak tree somewhere in another land.
Mm-hmm.
That was my last psychodrama that I did there, and it was prophetic in the sense that that's what we did. We trained sometimes 300 people a year. We trained from all over the world. Zerka helped us become international. Mostly we were training people in Britain, and then when she started coming, people started coming from all over the world to come and see her direct sessions and do sessions.
Mm-hmm.
She came for 20 years to us.
Mm-hmm.
Once a year for 20 years. She came with Merlin because the doctor had already died in 74, so she came with her second partner, Merlin Pizzoli. Yes.
Now, I'd like to check with you because I remember that I saw a picture of your stage, I think, and you had a different, easier solution for the balcony. So the balcony was not that high, and there was a platform.
There were 4 stairs that went up to the balcony, and there was a railing.
Yes. So you changed the beacon setting.
Yes.
You did something simpler.
We did. We made, in the corner of our theater, we made a wooden corner of a stage with a, I think it's called a Juliet balcony, not unlike this one here, where you can lean against it and talk to, let's say, the Pope, if you want to put the Pope down there, or be the Pope and speak as the Pope. And but what was good about it was that it was easy access. You're quite right. The one in Beacon, you had to go outside the room, up some stairs and out into the balcony. So this was quite in the room and very accessible, very much part of the room itself. We also had the same lighting. In Beacon we had banks of lights, like many blue lights to make just a blue color. Blue was for dream sequences, for thoughts in your mind and so on, was blue. Yellow was for sunshiny scenes, the beach or something. Red was angry, the picture or dream of hell, or and green was pastoral, so it was maybe a field, a meadow, something like that. But lighting was a very big part of our sessions in our training, and we reproduced that at Holwell.